Do you have fear while riding your bike? Or do you have fears about even continuing to ride? If so, it is not something to be ashamed of. It is natural, especially as we get older. Now, yes, this is going to be another video about riding as we get older. So if you are one of those who can't stand it when I talk about riding as we age, well, you should run screaming, because we are going to admit our vulnerabilities and talk honestly about the fears we face as older riders. The idea for this video started from a survey that my fellow YouTubers, Boots and Jeans Riders, posted in the channel comments. They asked about what their fellow riders were afraid of. Things like dying in a crash, dropping your bike, getting pulled over by the police. So along with these more common things, other riders said that they were afraid of getting rear-ended, of distracted drivers, of making U-turns, of riding on gravel roads, and of animals jumping out in front of us. In addition to this survey, I had a monthly meeting with my Travelers Club members in which this topic was again brought up. Now, if you are not aware, I have memberships available on my website that offers various benefits and access to our monthly meetings. We get together and talk about motorcycling and life. Now, you can check those out on my website. During our September meeting, one of the members relayed an incident he had recently, and he asked others if we had any fears or anxieties while traveling. This turned out to be a very good discussion, and many of us, as older riders, do have thoughts that we didn't have when we were younger. This topic has also come up on trips with friends, so it seems to be something worth discussing. My first reaction was that I don't really have fears while traveling. I have circumstances that I wish to avoid, like crashing, and thus I make changes to my behavior or plans in order to avoid those things. But after thinking about it, maybe I need to be a little more honest with myself. Someone could make the argument that because I choose to wear full gear, including a full-face helmet, that I am afraid of crashing and getting injured. If I wasn't afraid, I would be a man and ride around in my t-shirt and half helmet, or maybe even no helmet. You could also argue that because I plan shorter days and book my hotel rooms in advance, I am afraid of getting tired and maybe having to ride a few extra miles before I find lodging. In thinking about it, there have also been times when I have allowed myself to get worked up about a line of thunderstorms and definitely heavy traffic at the end of a long trip. I also admit to getting a bit of anxiety the night before leaving, kind of like pre-game jitters. While I have packed hundreds of times and have everything down pretty much to a science that I need to carry, there is always some frustration with the last-minute rush to make sure everything is in its place. One of the things we talked about at our September Travelers Club meeting was how long it takes to get settled down after setting out on a long adventure. For me, the first hour or so can be a little tense, but once I'm going and hopefully out of the hustle and bustle of my suburban area, I start to relax. A couple of days in, and I am in the swing of motorcycle travel. However, there are always times on a long trip when that frustration with packing and unpacking over and over again rears its ugly head. I have to slow down, take a few deep breaths, and let those feelings go. I think all of these things are natural. Having some degree of anxiety before a trip is natural. Getting frustrated is natural. As I have said before, there is no 30 or 60-day period in life when everything is perfect. Traveling by motorcycle is no different. During any long ride, not every day is going to be perfect. There will be ups and downs. It is all natural, and as they say, part of the adventure. Will there be times during a long trip when you are shaken or do actually feel scared? Sure. I relayed the time during my Alaska trip in 2024 when the 18-wheeler almost jackknifed in front of me, and then shortly thereafter I passed the location where a fellow rider lost his life. The crumpled bike was still on scene. That day shook me. I have also had cars pull in front of me and deer attempt to cross the interstate while I was doing 75 miles per hour. Again, those incidents shook me. But I will say again that these feelings are natural. If you feel nothing when these kinds of events happen, well, personally, I think that's probably when you should stop riding. Fear is part of our protective mechanism. It should make us pause and take stock. It should cause us to reevaluate the risk and come up with ways to mitigate the danger. Isn't that part of why we ride? To overcome the challenges. As many of my fellow riders have gotten older, they have found themselves having second thoughts. What if I get severely injured or even die? What will my partner do? What will my family do? Will they be all right? For sure, I have these thoughts too. I still want to take those big trips that I have in the past. I mean, this is my time to do it, right? My retirement time. But how will my wife cope with my absence? What happens if something unforeseen pops up and I am 3,000 miles away? Now, as you know, I have been in an off-road accident that broke my foot and severely damaged my shoulder. Simply put, I didn't like going through that year that it took to recover, and I don't want to do that again. I took steps to buy better gear, protecting my feet and ankles, but ultimately I had to ask myself, why was I doing it? And if I was really enjoying off-road riding. Now, for me, the answer was no. Was I afraid of getting hurt? Well, yeah, I guess so. See, in 20 years of road riding, I have never been injured. However, in just a few dirt rides, I have fallen many times and have been pretty seriously hurt. Guess which one I decided to stop? I think that motorcycle riding in general, and certainly long-distance travel, comes with some natural degree of trepidation, and that is not a bad thing. Those thoughts and feelings will help to keep you safe, at least if you listen to them. Now here comes the Zen part. Motorcycling and life in general comes with a certain degree of risk. The key is not to deny the risk and go balls to the wall. I mean, sorry, that might get you a Darwin Award or high YouTube ratings, but a long and fruitful life, well, probably not so much. The real key to living with risk and danger is to accept that it exists and then figure out how you can reduce those risks while still enjoying the things that you really love in life. I can only speak for myself, but these are a few things that I have done to live with the inherent dangers of motorcycle travel. The first one is, of course, to get training and to practice. Yep, that means spending time and money to make sure you have the skills necessary to handle unforeseen circumstances. The second thing is to try to make good decisions. I mean, none of us are perfect, certainly not me, and I do on occasion make poor choices or just mistakes. My goal is to make sure that those mistakes are not so big that I cannot recover. And so far, so good. The third thing is to never mix drinking and riding. Personally, I have given up alcohol, but long before that, I decided to never drink while riding or ride with anyone who is drinking. Now, this is just part of making good decisions. And I'm sorry to say, but yes, even 1 or 2 beers can impair your riding skills. And the fourth thing is to always ride within my limits. I have a tendency to ride a little faster than most of my traveling companions, but still I am generally within 5 to 10 miles of the speed limit and well within my personal skill bubble. It is extremely rare that I feel out of control. And I'm not saying this to brag, I am simply making the point that I always try to maintain control of my motorcycle, again, and ride within my personal limits. Planning is another thing that I use to keep myself safe and to reduce risks. Now, I know all about the sense of adventure, and I know you are probably tired of hearing this from me too. But it is just a fact that detailed planning is part of why I have few mistakes, few issues while traveling. And I know that may make for boring YouTube videos, but you know what? It's just the way that I like it. We humans are very poor at evaluating our skills or even how we feel. As my buddy and mentor Ken Condon likes to point out, the Dunning-Kruger effect is in full display among we motorcyclists. Most of us think we are good riders, but in fact, we suck pretty badly. Just spend some time around a rally or charity ride. Sorry guys, a little tough love. In a similar way, the difference between feeling good and being tired and making mistakes happens pretty quickly, especially as we get older. You are always better off to underestimate your skills and stamina than overestimate them. This is a big reason, along with personal enjoyment, that I now plan shorter days rather than going on just how I feel. As I mentioned earlier, motorcycling will never be without risk. You have to accept that fact if you want to keep doing it. It is essential that you learn to use the fear of those inherent dangers in constructive ways to make yourself as safe as possible, while still understanding there will always be some risk. Now, with all of that said, if the fear is all you think about and it becomes overwhelming, then it is probably time to stop. Especially as we get older, it is essential that we be honest with ourselves, honest with our mental status, and honest about our physical status. It is not a disgrace to downsize your bike or move to 3 wheels. If you are always worried about crashing, getting hurt, or even what is going on back home, then you are more likely to make mistakes. Your attention will not be on the road. You should not ride scared. You need to have confidence in your abilities. Now, if you are having these kinds of thoughts, here are my suggestions. First, as I just said, think about downsizing your motorcycle. If you are riding a huge bike that causes you to duck walk through parking lots and you're having trouble maintaining a line in corners, well, maybe it's time to get something smaller. Or at least you can rent one and give it a try. See if something lighter and smaller gives you more confidence. I know it did for me. The next thing I would suggest is to go out and find some training in your area. And this should go along with that first one of downsizing your bike. You should try both. Find some advanced training in your area. See, even if you've been riding for 20 or 30 years, you will be amazed at just how much you still have left to learn and how much it can boost your confidence. Of course, you will still need to practice. Both of these things can help to boost your confidence and help you to find new enjoyment in riding. You have to shift your focus, right? It's not about the bike and how much bling and farkles it has. It's about the ride. Again, shift your focus. And let me give you a little more tough love about training, because you see, I find that it comes with a lot of fear as well. See, people are a little fearful of being shown that they're not as good as they like everybody to think they are. It actually takes a pretty strong person to admit that they don't know everything and that they need help. And continuing with the tough love, if after trying all of these things you still cannot shake the thoughts of crashing and how it might affect your loved ones, then again, you should make an honest evaluation and maybe it's time to hang it up. I will say it once more, there will always be risk and danger involved with riding motorcycles. If you cannot accept that fact and find ways to use that fear to reduce the risk and increase the enjoyment, then it just might be time. I hate to see anyone give up the things they love, but sometimes It is for the best when it no longer gives us joy. It is your choice, and we all age at different rates. Make the choice that is best for you. As always, ride safe, and of course, keep squeezing your lemon.